question, right? How do you actually combat the lack of the full body language package that we're used to interacting with in person, when virtually, really all you'll see is, from the chest up?
Yeah. So when we're interacting virtually, you can't so much as compensate for a lack of lower body. If a cue is not available to you, the cue is not available to you. The person whose lower body is hidden is not any more likely to start exhibiting more cues on their face or their upper body because you can't see their lower body. In fact, they're actually more likely to exhibit more cues on their lower body. We cannot control that. However, when we are interacting in person, just as online, we have a limited cognitive ability anyway, and we can only see what is in our eyesight. We can only take in information that is in our visual field. No human being has the capacity to take in everything at once. So when we're online, although we lose the ability to take in the lower body at all, it means we have more cognitive resources to commit to looking at the face. And it means we can really dedicate our observation skills to small spaces and really pay attention and be sensitive to those changes in those cues.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing that I think is interesting and that we often overlook is that when we are in person having meetings, right, professional meetings, oftentimes we will be seated around a table, at a table, and really the dominant part of the other human that we're interacting with is their upper body, right?
Yeah, and there's more distractions as well. So I think it's actually harder to have a really clean observation when you're in person because there is so much stimuli there to take into consideration. Obviously, the more stimuli you have, the more you're able to assess. But again, we only have a limited amount of resources to pay attention to. So if we do really narrow in on that one space, we can just make sure that we're really, really sensitive to those changes.
Right. And also in the awareness we have of the way we're showing up, it almost makes the virtual,
Yes.
right, the virtual connection a little simpler because we only have to focus on this
Yeah.
quadrant.
Yeah, absolutely. When we're interacting in person, everything is very moving. Whereas when we're online, it's very static. We are in charge of this one bubble. We don't have, like I said, all those distractions around us. So we can really dedicate our energy to making this space as perfect as we want it to be. It can be as simple as just having a white wall rather than a really distracting background, and that works towards our benefit. Whereas when we're in person, we don't have that ability to control our environment as much. And I think that's a really important consideration that people don't tend to see as a benefit online, where it is a really strong benefit.
Right. It's one of those often overlooked advantages,
Yeah,
right, of the
yeah,
connection. Yeah. Awesome.
absolutely.